Phil? What? Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Strange things are afoot indeed. Greetings, most excellent friends. Welcome to the premiere episode of Bill and Ted's Excellent Podcast. I'm your host, Linda Kay, and I'm also web dudas of Bill and Ted's Excellent Online Adventure. I want to thank everyone for joining us, and also thank you for your continued support of the website these many years. It's hard to believe that we're going to be celebrating our 15th anniversary in 2014. The website started in 1999. My friend Joe Madge was the one who put it together in the first place. I took it over in 2002 and have been working on it ever since. And it's been a great pleasure to get to know all of the fans. And I know we've had a bit of a hiatus this year. A few months ago, I took some time off to regroup, reorganize, and we should be starting more regular updates again soon. So join us at billandted.org to keep up with everything to do with the Bill and Ted universe. Probably the question you may be asking is, why a Bill and Ted podcast and why now? Well, when I started restructuring the website, I realized the website itself is a really good database, but I knew I needed to get more involved in the social media aspect of the internet. So we have become more active on Facebook and on Twitter, and it's actually easier to do the updates there. When we get back to doing our regular updates, we'll be updating the website as well. But in the meantime, we found that we can more easily keep in touch with fans and keep in touch with everything that's going on Facebook and Twitter. And there's been so many things happening in the Bill and Ted universe. It's incredible to think that after 25 years, which it will be the 25th anniversary of Excellent Adventure in February, at least here in the United States. And it just seems incredible that after 25 years, Bill and Ted still has such an impact on the world today. Those characters have endured. We know we all love them. Obviously, the rest of the world does too. They are classic comic characters which have stood the test of time. And with the 25th anniversary of Excellent Adventure coming up next year, and also the very real possibility of a Bill and Ted 3 happening, I just felt it was time to put a podcast out there and start to get the backstory on the making of the movies, interview the principals, interview people who are involved in the making of the movies, and give the fans a chance to be involved. Hopefully, we will be having lots of guest stars on this podcast, and hopefully a lot of fans will be willing to come on and talk to us about their experiences and their love of Bill and Ted. So we're very excited about this, and we hope you're excited too. In this podcast, we hope to cover all aspects of the Bill and Ted universe, including the movies, the music, the animated series, the comics, Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventures at Universal Studios, the actors' careers, everything to do with Bill and Ted. Everything we cover on the website we hope to cover here in more detail and with guests. So we really hope you'll stay tuned, and we look forward to bringing you much more exciting material in the near future. First off, we're going to start with some news, which is going to be all about what's totally going on now in the Bill and Ted universe. And the top story on everyone's mind, and has been for several years now, is the possibility of a Bill and Ted 3. Now, Bill and Ted 3 has pretty much been a rumor since the 1991 Bogus Journey press junkets, when Alex and Keanu joked about them possibly doing a movie when they were 40 years old. Well, they're a little past 40 now, but there's still talk about a Bill and Ted 3, and this time it's legitimate. We've dealt with many, many rumors over the years. Those of you who've been with the website all this time know we've had our spurts of Bill and Ted 3 rumors and excitement that never came to anything. And this was because the principals were not involved for the most part in these rumors. There wasn't any script being written. Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson were not involved writing something actively. But over the years, Alex and Keanu have always publicly stated that they would be more than willing to do a Bill and Ted 3 if the right story came along, if Ed and Chris could come up with an idea they could get behind, and if the time was right. And apparently that time may be fast approaching. The other exciting news happening right now is that Alex Winter is putting together a new documentary entitled Deep Web The Untold Story of Bitcoin and the Silk Road. And he is doing a Kickstarter campaign to get this documentary project off the ground. And as part of his Kickstarter campaign, he is offering up some pretty exciting rewards, including several Bill and Ted related rewards. And there are special screenings of Excellent Adventure and now also Bogus Journey, the Excellent Adventure one in New York, the Bogus Journey one in Los Angeles, both happening in January of next year. There are autographed scripts, there are photos, and there are, well, why don't we let Alex tell you about it himself? We're very, very honored and excited to have Alex Winter join us for our very first podcast. And so let's get the rub from him. Hi, Alex. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I'm so thrilled you could join us for our premiere episode of Bill and Ted's Excellent Podcast.
What better way to kick it off, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, I can't think of a better way. Tell us a little bit about this Kickstarter campaign you've got going. We've been following it on the website and Facebook and Twitter, and it looks very exciting. What made you decide to go to Kickstarter to fund this particular documentary?
Well, this is a kind of a follow-up doc to my Napster doc downloaded, and, that one was completely funded by VH1 Rock Doc, so I was just, off and running with that. And this one, from the very beginning, we were looking to create, web-based community around the movie, and which we did with Downloaded, but we couldn't have them help take part in the funding.
Right, okay.
So for this one, we're using Kickstarter, we're using Bitcoin directly, and we're building a community around the film, which is, the movie's all about this vast new web-based community, and so it just seemed to make sense to build one as we went.
Right, because that's really what Downloaded was really all about, was the community that was built by Napster.
Yep.
And how that's become the norm now.
Yeah, it really was about the birth of the digital revolution from the standpoint of the average, citizen getting into an internet-based community. That had never really happened before Napster, not anywhere near that scale. And of course, that's the world that we all live in now.
Right. When I saw Downloaded, it really painted a clear picture for me about how Napster was extremely relevant to today's internet. I mean, you sort of think of it as this thing that came and went and it just died, but then your movie really painted this clear picture about, wow, this really was the start of everything in a lot of ways. And Bitcoin is even more relevant to what's going on today. It seems like it'd be a much bigger game changer than even Napster was. So is that why you got into this as your next subject? It seems like a natural progression.
Yeah, it is absolutely. I mean, the Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer technology just like Napster. So it's a very natural progression from Napster to Bitcoin, and it has the capability of being very, very disruptive. I think it's already beginning to show itself to be disruptive, but the idea of an unregulated currency, whether it's Bitcoin or different technologies similar to Bitcoin, because there's quite a few of them popping up now,
Right.
is a game changer in a lot of ways, and I think what the whole movie is about is kind of the divisions that are going on in the world right now between those who are kind of for or against these new communities, these new technologies, and all the changes that are coming with them.
You sort of see this going the same way as Napster, with the government and the corporations trying to just shut it down because they're so nervous without actually realizing this is something we can utilize. Are they going to kill the golden goose again?
I hope not. I mean, I think that there is some nervousness, but I think there's also some more acceptance now than there was back in '99 when the thing was just so completely confusing and terrifying to everybody. I think it's a foregone conclusion that we know this world isn't going to change, and we're sort of cruising down this highway, and it's impossible to turn it off. But there's definitely a lot of nervousness, and there's still a lot of hesitance, apprehension on a lot of people's parts about all these technologies. So that's a big part of what the movie is looking at.
One thing I really liked about the way you did Downloaded, I'm a huge fan of your films, by the way.
Thank you.
I've been following you since Squeal of Death days.
Oh, awesome.
But you do a really great job with the documentaries, and one thing I really loved about Downloaded was you took this approach of you really didn't take any sides. You sort of just presented the story and you showed both sides, I think, very equally. And after the film, you sort of felt like it was like, okay, now discuss people. Like, what do you think? And it was really opened up a lot of discussions. And this is what you sort of want to do with Deep Web, is to just open up the discussions to people and bring people up to speed with what's going on so they can share in the discussions and feel knowledgeable of what, instead of just going, what's that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me is, is very much about trying to create, demystify this world that we're living in. I think this world's really confusing and somewhat terrifying for a lot of people. There's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of misrepresentation in the media. And, I think these particular docs that I'm making are seeking to help give some context and clarity to, a lot of changes and innovations that are really extraordinary and are mostly really positive. So that's kind of where the motivation is.
I'm curious about this subject myself, but do you think that the creation of Tor and John Donham style technology, is that people's reaction a direct result of like this seeming encroachment of the government and corporations into small and private free enterprise? Do you think that's where this is stemmed from, or it's just sort of the rebels coming out and saying, okay, we don't like the way that the establishment is doing things, we're going to do it our own way?
Well, I think it's both. I mean, I think that very clearly we have a division going on in the world between, people who are bucking the system and the system kind of bucking back. I think that there's always fear that there's going to be some kind of complete and utter upheaval, or that people that are in control are going to lose control. That's a definite, and that's just a societal thing that's, has always been inherent in any society. But I also think what's interesting about this story is how, you have players that kind of swim in both seas, as it were. I mean, you've got people who are heavily involved in the development of, this cryptography and creating, anonymity in the web, that are also, they're working both for the government and for people that are more interested in kind of avoiding governments. So, we get out of, there's not a lot of black and white in this world, and whole heck of a lot of gray.
Right.
Which is really interesting,
I
think.
Oh, it's a fascinating subject. I know you're going to do great justice to it, because you did such a wonderful job with Downloaded, and I know this is going to be a fantastic documentary, and I can't wait to see it myself. But I will leave it to you to explain all of the Bitcoin and Silk Road information in the documentary, and we'll get on to the fun stuff here and talk about these great rewards you're offering as an incentive. It's like, what's that? Oh, wait, no, Bill and Ted, cool, let's go for that.
Yeah, I really hope that people do go for these rewards. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. So
we've gone over it a little bit in the news section, but I think the most exciting one for most of us would be the Bill and Ted screening parties. You have the Excellent Adventure screening party happening in New York on, I think, January 4th, is it?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
And then you have just added today the Bogus Journey screening in LA, and that's January 30th, I think.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And that's going to be hosted at the Cine Family, which is an awesome theater group everybody should check out in LA.
Yeah, it's an amazing theater. I love these guys, and we did our Freak 20th anniversary there, which I believe you were at. And
that was awesome.
Yeah, and they're just a really great group of people. So we're doing our event there, and we're doing an event in New York. We're going to show Bogus Journey in LA and Bill and Ted in New York. So you could go to both if you want.
That's what I'm hoping. I don't think I can make it to New York, but I am really hoping somebody would be able to attend both, because that would be like a total party. Yeah. I'd be like party. So hopefully, we'll see if somebody can do that. Please cover it for us, people. If you can go to the New York one, we'd love to hear.
Yeah.
But there's publicity photos from Bill and Ted, Lost Boys, and Freaked. There's autographed scripts, which are really cool, because they've got like a lot of the material from both movies that never made the movie.
Yeah.
And there's everything. I love these idiot box drawings by Coop.
Oh, Fred Coop.
Of Eddie
those
the
are awesome.
Flying Gimp.
Yeah.
Those are great. People should jump on those. Heck, you could be doing what we're doing right now, babes and dudes. You could be Skyping with Bill S. Preston Esquire. I mean, come on. For only $100. What a deal. And, you can get copies of the movie. I don't know. I like this $10,000 or more. Who's going to step up and...
Yeah, someone's going to need some serious courage to go for that one. But we do, yeah, we have a lot of great rewards, and people are really responding to them. So
Good. Yes, the Bill and Ted cereal box is gone already. And the Lost Boys prints, but there are so many other great rewards here. And if you would like to donate to Alex's Deep Web campaign, you can go to Kickstarter.com and just search for Deep Web, and the campaign will come right up, and your contributions are greatly appreciated. Well, because this is a Bill and Ted podcast, I would be completely remiss, and everybody would give me grief, if I did not at least ask about the status of Bill and Ted 3. And I think we all pretty much know, because we're following the story very well, that it looks like it could really actually happen.
yeah, I think that there's a good possibility that it is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we are, very, very deep in trying to get it done, and we have a really great producer on board now, so there's a very good chance that it's going to happen. The machinery is all doing what it's supposed to be doing.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
And, okay, so let me ask one question about Bill and Ted 3. My question for you is, how do you think the fans are going to react? You've read the script, you know the story, you know what you're planning to do. I trust you guys doing this movie, because in any other hands I would think, not sure. But do you think the fans are going to react? Like, do you think they're going to love it, that they're going to say, oh, this ties everything together? Is it going to be like, wow, this is really far out there? I mean, what's the vibe do you think people are going to get from the third movie?
I think that it really fits in with the last two. I mean, I think that what we really went to great pains to do was build something that we felt was going to stand up to the other movies and have, the similar tone and vibe, and frankly feel like, in a sense, the closure of the tale, as it were. And so that's something we put a lot of thought into. Was like, we didn't want to make it unless it really felt like it was like, it was the characters that we knew,
right?
And it didn't feel like some kind of cynical retro examination, and that it would feel like it was almost like a very easy natural fit from where we left off.
See, that's great to hear. I love it. That excites me about it. I'm very happy to hear this is happening, because I always knew if a third movie was going to happen, it would have to be Ed, Chris, you, and Keanu all on board on the same page, and it sounds like you all really are. So that's fantastic news. I'm so excited about it. I hope it happens.
I think it'll happen. I think that there's a lot of momentum behind it.
Good.
I think it's just a matter of time getting all of the ducks in a row. But yeah, we're really happy with it as well.
Okay.
And
sounds great.
We're really looking forward to seeing this thing.
You ready to step back in those shoes? You have the energy for it? A lot of Red Bull?
It's surprisingly easy, I have to say. I mean,
that's great.
It's frightening, actually, how close to home those characters are, or just how under the skin of us they are.
Bill just bubbling right under the surface, dying to come out. Huh?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Alex. So I really appreciate your time. I know you've got a lot to do, and I hope in the future we'll be able to talk again, maybe get more into depth into Bill and Ted when you have more time and we're a little farther down the road on our podcast.
Yeah, of course. Let me know how things are going, Linda, and I'd love to check back in with you. And as we get cranking into the movie or whatever, we'll check back in. Okay. Absolutely. We just love what you've been doing with all of this. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Well, we love what you're doing, and we're going to be watching this Kickstarter campaign, and we're hopefully going to get some exciting donations going on in the last 9 days here. So
awesome.
Fingers
well, thank
crossed.
You. Yeah, people should jump on board. You can be an actual part of the movie, so it's pretty cool times that we're living in.
It is. It's so awesome. I love it. Just having gone from like the old days of the fan club to now, the way we can all interact together is fantastic. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
Great. Well, thanks, Alex, and I appreciate your time.
Great. Thanks, Linda. I'll talk to you soon.
And thank you again, Alex Winter, for joining us on our very first podcast. What a most excellent way to start, don't you think? It was really awesome of him to take the time out to talk to us about his Kickstarter campaign. And we do look forward to talking to Alex in the future about Bill and Ted in more detail. But for right now, if you would like to donate and get some of these cool rewards, you can go to Kickstarter.com and just search for Deep web. And if you can give anything, it doesn't matter how little, how much, whatever you can give would be awesome. And I know Alex would appreciate it very much. Let's just take a quick look here and see where we're at on the Kickstarter campaign right now as of this recording. And it looks like the campaign, oh, they're up over $40,000. The goal is $75,000. And of course, you know that if they don't reach the goal, they don't get the funding. That's how Kickstarter works. But they are well over halfway there. Awesome. Thanks to everybody for putting it up over $40,000. And come on, everybody, let's get in there last minute and help this campaign take off, because I know Alex is going to do a fantastic job on this documentary, and it's really relevant for our time. So get some of those great Bill and Ted rewards, people. It is well worth your time and money to back this project, and we are 100% behind it. I've donated, and hopefully we'll reach that goal. So thank you again, Alex, and thank you everyone for donating. We do have some other news which we'd like to cover in this episode. It is just about Christmas time, and every year at Christmas time, we have to mention that people in the Orange County area of California, if you have a chance to go see A Christmas Carol, it's a musical play put on by South Coast Repertory Theater, and every year, Hal Landon Jr., Ted's dad from Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey, plays Ebenezer Scrooge in this production. And this year, the show is in its 34th year, and this is Hal's 34th year of playing Ebenezer Scrooge. It is one of the best shows ever. I saw it many years ago. I've been dying to go back. I need to get back and see it again. It is such a lovely program, and it's charming, it's whimsical, and it's fun. And Hal Landon is superb in the role of Ebenezer Scrooge. So if you are in the Orange County area, and this runs through December 26th, tickets are selling out fast. This is a popular show. So if you have any chance to go this year, next year, whenever you can get it, go see this show. It is well worth your time. And congratulations to Hal on his 34th year. We're very excited for number 35 next year, and we hope he's going to be able to continue to do it for many years to come. It is a tradition for many families to go see this show. And if you're not in the Christmas spirit, this show will put you in the Christmas spirit. No bah humbugs. You will love it. Definitely go catch Hal in A Christmas Carol at South Coast Repertory. You can get your ticket by going to scr.org. That's S as in Sam, C as in Cat, R as in Roger.org, South Coast Repertory in Orange County, California. Also coming on Christmas Day, we have the opening of 47 Ronin, which is Keanu Reeves' new film that he's starring in. It was directed by Carl Rinch. This movie's been in production for quite some time. We're very excited to see it finally be released. It should be awesome. I know they spent a lot of money on it, so we're really looking forward to seeing it. And it's based on the classic Chushingura stories from Japan, which were about this historical incident where these 47 Ronin, and Ronin are samurai warriors who've lost their master. They're sort of rogue. But these 47 Ronin, and this is a historical incident, but there's been a lot of classic Japanese tales based on this incident. They set out to avenge their lord's death. So it's a very classic tale, and we're very excited to see how they tell it, and we're very excited to see Keanu in this particular film. So plan on going out Christmas Day and catching Keanu in 47 Ronin. Also, if you can't get enough Keanu, and who the heck can get enough Keanu, you can catch his other film that just came out this year, was Man of Tai Chi. Man of Tai Chi is currently available on iTunes, and Keanu not only starred in Man of Tai Chi, but he also directed it. So definitely check that out. Man of Tai Chi on iTunes now. And while you're on iTunes, if you're in the real mood for a documentary, have a documentary night at the movies. I have the perfect double bill for you. Rent Side by Side, the documentary that Keanu Reeves narrated and produced, which is all about the transition between classic film shot on film and digital film, which is how movies are made today. is an incredibly interesting look at the transition and how filmmakers are dealing with that transition between classic film and digital filmmaking. Rent that, and then rent Alex Winter's documentary Downloaded, which is about the rise and fall of Napster, which is also about transition, the transition between the classic way that music was released and the way music is released now. Both films, it's incredible that Alex and Keanu made these two documentaries covering completely different subjects, are very much related. You could sit down and watch both and realize, wow, this is how the world is changing around us. Definitely, if you haven't caught those documentaries yet and you love documentary filmmaking, those are two of the best documentaries I've seen in a long time. I'm not just saying that because it's Alex and Keanu, although that doesn't hurt. But they are really good films, very thought-provoking, and well worth seeing. So get those. Those are both available on iTunes as well. And finally, if you're looking for a last-minute Christmas gift and you know someone who loves Bill and Ted, or you know someone who loves 80s films, or just loves beautiful actresses, then we can highly recommend you pick up Diane Franklin's biography. It's called Diane Franklin, The Excellent Adventures of the Last American French Exchange Babe of the 80s. I love that title. That's awesome. And Diane, of course, played Princess Joanna in Excellent Adventure. And there's a little confusion between which actress played which princess in the first film, but we are going to cover that in a future podcast because that's far too long to go into here. But Diane Franklin did play Princess Joanna, technically, in Excellent Adventure. That was her character's name at the time. Diane Franklin is a most wonderful, beautiful princess babe to this day, and her book is a lot of fun. In it, she covers her career. It's kind of done by film, so there's sections on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but there's also sections on The Last American Virgin, Better Off Dead, Amityville 2, The Possession, and Second Time Lucky. So check that out. It is available on Amazon.com. Just go on Amazon.com and search for Diane Franklin and pick up a copy. It's well worth the read. It's really, really a good read. It's a lot of fun. Lots of great pictures, and it's the perfect Christmas gift. So that concludes this episode. We're keeping it a little short this time. Next time, we plan to do podcast number 2, publish it around Christmas Eve, and we have a most outstanding guest for you on our next show. It's David Link. He was the unit publicist on Excellent Adventure, and David joined me to tell some incredibly fun and interesting stories about the production of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And he was so entertaining, and he's got so many great stories about the making of the movie. I know you're going to want to tune in and catch that. That will be our next podcast, and it should be published around December 24th. Stay tuned to our website and our Facebook page and our Twitter page to find out more. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time around. Catch you later, babes and dudes. Bill and Ted's Excellent Podcast is published by Bill and Ted's Excellent Online Adventure. You can find us at billandted.org, and once there you'll find links to us on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our fan forums. Or you can email us at lindakbabe@billandted.org. And remember, do not listen to this podcast without wearing headphones. Repeat, do not listen to this podcast without wearing headphones. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure Characters and Images, trademark and copyrighted 1989-2003, Creative Licensing Corporation, all rights reserved. The motion picture Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is copyrighted 1989, MGM Incorporated, all rights reserved. Motion picture Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, copyrighted 1991, MGM Incorporated, all rights reserved. Tune in again next time for Bill and Ted's Excellent Podcast.